Okay, so if you're living under a rock or you haven't noticed yet, every single day is a massive media, social media, celebrity, and publicly acceptable freakout of Donald Trump, and 90% of the time it's unjustified or completely exaggerated or just completely untrue. So yesterday the headlines were screaming, Trump hung up on Australian Prime Minister, Trump ruining ties with Australia, how could he? He hung up the phone, he's rude, he's nasty, he said terrible things. I saw tens of hundreds of news sources and people reporting this story, but I noticed something funny. None of these news sources had an actual quote from the Australian Prime Minister himself. How could all of these news sources be aggressively promoting the fact that Trump hung up on the Australian Prime Minister without a quote or an actual reference from him? So I decided to wait for this massive freakout to blow over and wait to hear from the Prime Minister. Today, reports with his actual quotes came out, and guess what he said? He said, according to Business Insider, as far as the call is concerned, I'm very disappointed that there has been a leak of purported details of the call in Washington, but I want to make one observation about it, Turnbull said. The report that the president hung up is not correct. The call ended courteously. What? Every single news source reported that he hung up and he wasn't courteous. He continued, as far as the nature of the discussion, it was very frank and forthright. Turnbull also described the call as a whole as courteous. What is going on? So all of these news sources are reporting that he hung up, that he was rude, that he was nasty, that we're ruining relations, and they didn't mention one single quote or actual reference from the Prime Minister himself, and the next day the Prime Minister comes out and says, that's not true, he never hung up on me, it was courteous, yes he was frank, but none of that happened. So how are most news sources, celebrities, social media, pop culture, and the entire population reporting a story that's not true, that's fake, that's false, that has no factual evidence to it? This is ridiculous. The actual Prime Minister said none of that happened, but if you were paying attention yesterday, you know that everybody was freaking out saying he's ruining with Australia, he's ruining with Australia. The media and people's reaction to everything Trump does is going to destroy America and destroy the world. If he's such a terrible person, just use facts. Let me know when he's terrible. I would love a better option. I would love a different option, but I'm not seeing a better option. All I'm seeing is freaking out, exaggerations, and mass media headline manipulation that's making everyone freak out and making the problem 30 times worse than Trump ever made it in the first place. And once again, celebrities like Bruce Springsteen, who had a concert in Australia, announced to his crowd, oh, I'm so sorry, he hung up, blah, 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 all of this pandering saying, Donald Trump, I'm sorry about him, I'm sorry he hung up on your Prime Minister. Hey, Bruce Springsteen, he never hung up on the Prime Minister. Why don't you take your pandering and your political agenda that's actually not helping anybody, your misinformation, your fake news, and your lies, and keep it for after the set, because now you're in Australia making America look like fools when it's actually you that are the fool. It's the mainstream media sources that are the fools. They're reporting every single day. If you haven't noticed, this isn't an isolated issue. When I make a video, people are like, anomaly, but what about I could do this 10,000 times. I just don't have the time or energy. This happens every single day. Every single executive order, every single move he makes is a massive freak out, which takes away from everything. I'm all for some opposition from Trump. I think he's a wild card. I think he could definitely be dangerous, and I think he has a lot to learn. I don't think he has all the solutions, but the way you guys are freaking out over every little thing is getting ridiculous. This is a completely false story that everybody was reporting yesterday, and you could read there what the Prime Minister actually said. We've tried lies, we've tried freaking out, we've tried exaggeration, we've tried mass media manipulation, and look what happened. Donald Trump is president, so why don't you guys learn? Tell the truth, stop lying, and stop freaking out.
This whole world is going crazy, but you never see me worry. Keep it peaceful like a saint, meditate like every day. I don't want